unmute and tell me if you're excited or not.
I'm stoked, but are we talking over the intro?
Just music.
Oh, guys, here we go.
Here we go. We won't talk over Chris. We can talk over this.
I'll talk over that.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and you're listening to a podcast that believes in dreams, that places trust in the magic of imagination, that is always the first star to the right, and where the light in the window is always on. Join as we discuss the views from Walt's apartment.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of UnDIZsputed. We're going to be deep diving the Disney's Q3 call. So grab your popcorn, bring your opinions, and let's have a good show. Here we go.
Let's go!
How's it going? Welcome, everybody. Again, this is another episode of UnDIZsputed. This is where we deep dive, have fun. We talk about all things Disney, but in a more aggressive way. We talk about things we like, things we don't like. We banter back and forth. We let you know our opinions. Again, this is an opinion-based show. However you feel is how you feel. We respect all opinions. Sean, how are you doing tonight, man?
Buddy, I am doing freaking amazing. I'm excited. I will say, we have so many podcasts on this network, and I usually prepare for all of them. But Louis sends me freaking notes and charts and graphs and all this shit. I'm like, dude, what is all this stuff? We're just gonna talk, right? And then he's like, I got slides and I got this. I'm like, what is going on? Facebook uses SOB. It's bedtime on the East Coast. Well then.
No, it's not. Stay up with us.
Stay up. Let's go. We got some
45 more minutes. 45 minutes.
We're going to talk about some great stuff tonight. I do want to give a shout out to Just Ask Danny, who is on YouTube and he's part of the Cali Base Speculation Sunday, Mondo 5 Fires. We are doing an interview with him after this, which will come out this week on Walt's Apartment Podcast Network. Also, Nicole will be interviewing Vice President Kim from Getaway Today this week, and it's just going to be a fun week. We got lots of fun stuff planned, but this is the first show of the week, so you got to let me get my plugs in for all my stuff. So let's go. Everyone's here. We got Lauren's here, Amanda's here, Johnny's here, Facebook user is here, Johnny. Everyone's here. Tyler's excited. If Tyler's excited, Robin says hi. Lou, it's your show. Do the damn thing. Let's go.
All right. First off, big shout out to Joseph, who was in the comments. He just received a Sunken City Stitch backpack. Super excited that he has it. Make sure you tag us on Instagram. Let us know what you think. But just a few house rules for those in the comments. This show is slightly scripted.
Hi, George.
We have a game plan of what we're discussing. If we don't answer your comments, it's not personal. It's not that we're ignoring you. But this is not like other shows where we're going to take comments and kind of go too far off. But if we are discussing something about the Q3 call, you'll kind of hear when we're throwing it to the comments, taking comments. But we ask that all questions, comments, concerns, stuff like that, stay in the lane of the topics we are talking about tonight. Again, we're going to be discussing the Q3. No professional here on the numbers or like that, but there were some topics that were discussed that stood out to me. So I want to bring them to the table, get Shawn's opinion, get your guys' opinion. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they whatever? And with that, since we have so much good, bad, or whatever, we are not doing the Kubrick's section today of the over, under, and just right. That will be back our next episode. This one, we have so much over, under, just right that we're going to be doing it all show long. So with that.
Should I make my picture go away and just have the picture up? You can just hear my voice like other people that come on and break the stuff down to where you actually don't know what they look like?
No. I have no problem. I have no problem. People see my face. Again, it's just my opinion. So if you're not having my opinion, I'm sorry. I will respect your opinion all the way through, and I ask that in return. So, Shawn, real quick, did you watch the Q3 call? What'd you think?
I thought, they basically kind of said we're doing okay. They acknowledge I don't know. Everyone I think is going way too far on this decrease in park attendance in Walt Disney World. Like everyone's, he touched on it. Who cares? But I don't know. I thought it was good. It was okay. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was actually going to be. Like when the actual numbers came out and stuff like that. So I'm like thinking, okay, obviously you have to, cut business. You have to cut things to make money. Then they're doing that. They're on track to hit their goal of $5.5 billion in cuts to get back in the positive. I liked some of the conversation. I mean, we're going to talk. I don't want to get into too much stuff. So you're going to talk about it, but I mean, it was okay. It wasn't disrespect. He just gets up and walks away. So you start, it's all right. He can hear anywhere in there, so it's all good. But I don't know. I thought it was a good call. It was what you would expect, I think, from Disney to do a call that wasn't like negative. They threw out a few positives. There's really not a lot of positives to talk about, I guess, but there's stuff. I don't know. I can continue to ramble, but what did you think, boss?
I mean, I'm on the same boat you are. I thought it was an interesting call. They definitely had better numbers, bigger numbers than expected, but at the same time, they've also done a lot of cutbacks, unfortunately. So, and that's the part that kind of caught my my attention was the fact that, okay, you've cut so much back that now you're on par.
Yeah.
So, okay. So how do you grow if you had to cut back to get to par? So it definitely caught my attention.
We shouldn't spend $75 billion on Fox. I'm just saying. I mean, that's
I do not disagree with you. And that's some of and the thing that they touched on a lot was that a few highlights they mentioned, and we're going to get into those as we break this down, but a few highlights they mentioned were things that, like, for instance, they mentioned Avatar as a highlight. And yes.
Like more than once. Yes, it was good.
Avatar is a highlight for them, but realistically, majority of Avatar's 2 money was not paid for by them. Mm-hmm. So they kind of got a little win on that one because they got to reap the benefits, but not have to put the money up to fund that. And you saw how big that budget took to make that movie. So they got lucky, and I'm very interested to see what happens with Avatar 3 if they continue down this path they're on.
I think they will. I honestly think I have made it very clear I'm not a huge Avatar fan, but those movies, they draw, man. They draw people. I mean, if you do them every couple of years too, it's just you're gonna create that excitement. I saw the movie; it was visually okay. I don't know. I just can't get into that kind of story. But
and again, that's another thing though that you brought up a good point with Disney. That movie. I mean, it's not Disney; it is now, but it wasn't originally. That movie came out like 10 years later, and it made that much money
for sure. And of course, and they. Good on Disney for buying it when they did because they knew they're going to have that money coming to them. It helped them this year, obviously. I mean, almost $1 billion. It's pretty damn good. Or is it over $1 billion? Or
it's over. I think it's actually almost 2 now.
Yeah, but still, I mean, just think about that with George's comment here. Once they dump the bleeding Disney Plus, get this company back on track. I agree with you, George, but they never will. They've put way too much money into Disney Plus. They will never get rid of it. So
let's talk about Disney Plus because that came up and. Okay. There's mixed numbers out there, but they Disney Plus, there's mixed numbers, but there is reports saying that they have more than Netflix, which is over 220 million subscribers. Then there's numbers that are saying they're about 153, 155 million subscribers. So the news sources, they're trying to force a narrative.
I think I would believe that 150 range more than I don't think it has more than Netflix, just to be honest with you.
I don't think so either. And so with Disney Plus, the one interesting thing that they're doing, and I know, and it's one of our topics, so I didn't number our topics because honestly, they can go all which way. So I was going to plug them in as we go. And one of our topics tonight, Disney Plus prices to increase. Is it good or bad? And let me go into that. But before I go into that, I want to hear from everybody in the chat. Disney Plus is raising its prices. Do you think that's good? Do you think it's bad? And I want to hear your comments, your feedback, because there's an interesting view on why they are raising prices. I think it's to help the bleeding Disney Plus.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, us as consumers, we don't see that. But I want to deep dive on that. But let's see what you guys are saying.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna pull a Sam real quick because she's usually does this stuff. We have 11 people watching us right now live. Do us a favor, click the like, heart, whatever thing to show us the love. It gets us out there more. The price increase, you have to think about this because when they started Disney Plus back in 2019, a lot of people were able to buy that 3-year locked in upfront price. So not smart in my opinion to do that for 3 years, because now you're losing you're still $2 billion in losses. They're going to make that money back up. They're making that money back up with the price increase. It's just like anything in business. I know George is making comments in here. And he says, I could care less about the price. George owns his own business. I work at a business where price, it changes everything. Price is the price. Now, I think, I don't know if it was Iger's interview or if it was the actual call, but they'd mentioned the fact that, they're going to make more revenue, if you think about it, from the ad-based subscription, even though it's a cheaper subscription, but you're having to watch the ads, which is what the money's going into the Disney company to, so raising the price, it's just a way of life. I mean, I think I've had, I want to say in the past 6 months, I've seen a price increase on Peacock. I think Netflix went up like $1. I had Paramount, but I got rid of it. Hulu just went up again. I mean, literally, it's going to, I think, goes up I got a notification going to go up in a month. That's just business. It's just what happens.
Yeah. And you brought up a solid thing. Anybody, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but anybody that bought the 3-year bundle or even bought Disney Plus when it first came out, and it was at, I think, $6.99. If you deeply believe that it was going to say $6.99 or under $10,
oh yeah, you knew it wasn't going
to where it is today.
Oh,
it wasn't happening. But so in the Q3 call,
it's still cheaper than Netflix.
It is still cheaper than Netflix.
Yeah.
So with that, I mean, you have 3 type of people. You have those that are going to buy it because they're just downright Disney fans. They want it. They need it. They're going to have it. But the second type of person is those that are watching it and are paying for all types of subscriptions. So therefore, you don't want to pay more for that because all apps are going up and it hurts. The third type of person is those that just downright don't like Disney. And for the prices, this is just more fuel to the fire. But the interesting that Disney's doing is they are upping the prices of their programs. But one of the things that's going to help Disney, and Robin mentioned, what do I get for the increase? And you individually, us individually as viewers, don't get nothing individually. But with them upping the price, with them adding the commercial-based one, the ads and all that, it's going to put more revenue in Disney's pocket to make more, better, longer content that we are liking. It sucks. It really does. But I really like that they are now adding the ad-supported content because ultimately when Disney Plus came out, they cut their own artery. They're cutting themselves checks. In order, if we watch Pinocchio or any other movie on Disney Plus, our views don't do nothing. We pay our monthly subscription and that's it.
Yep.
We don't do anything else. When we watch it on, say, Netflix, then kind of like what the writer's strike is going on right now, Disney gets a cut from that, from them licensing it out. So with Disney Plus, they lost out on so much more. They lost out on DVD sales. Why? I have all the DVDs on my streaming platform. I don't need to buy DVDs no more because I have it. The Disney Movie Club, they missed out on that because now I have it on Disney Plus. So with them bringing the ad content in, it really allows them to bring in more revenue and help them as a company, which we can argue, do they not need? But
Right.
I'm really interested to see now with this ad-supported tier. I mean, it's been there, but now they're really pushing it. How much more revenue does that bring in? And will we see that revenue put back into Disney Plus? Now, in a year from now, a year and a half, 2 years, I mean, we have the strike right now, so stuff's going to be pushed back. But in about 2 years, if Disney Plus is still pumping out 6-episode series at 30 minutes apiece at subpar content, then yes, this boost in raise is absolute dog shit. But in 2 years, if we start seeing 10-episode series at 50 minutes, 50 to 60 minutes apiece, the story, content, all of that.
We've had that discussion before. I'm going to stop you just for a second. You've made that comment before about you don't like the shorter episodes. You have to think about it in another way. It's actually like a 4-hour movie, if you know what I mean. But it's just split up, and it's smart on their part to put it into slices, because if you're gonna buy this, and if you want to just see the Secret Invasion movie, right, which is basically 6 episodes, it's 3 hours long, you're gonna buy Disney Plus for that one to watch that. But if you really want to watch Secret Invasion, you get hooked on it, you got to buy at least 2 months of membership to watch it. It's smart on their part to put it into the slices. I know, and I still think that I think they're creating decent content. I know a lot of people. I'm gonna real quick here. Amanda said, I agree with Jen. We still buy it regardless of the price. Everyone raises the price. It just depends on user preference and how often you watch on the platform to make that cost worth it. Very true. George says streaming sucks, kills theaters and Blu-rays sales, which is actually better. I agree with that. I think the streaming platforms have destroyed the movie industry. Mm-hmm. It's there because and we talked about this we're going off topic. It's what we do, but Little Mermaid, if I wanted to take my 4 kids and 3 grandkids and everyone, it's going to cost me over $100. Or I wait 2 months and I spend 10 and go buy a couple bags of popcorn, and there you go. So it's just.
But even that, Disney with streaming, there's so much more revenue that they can be utilizing and getting. They could put Little Mermaid in the theater. Okay, family of 5, it's a little pricey. I can't go. Yeah. Okay, it's on Disney Plus in 3 months at, say, the $29.99, right, when they first came out. Everyone's like, oh, that didn't work because they tried it with those movies. Nobody bought it.
That's not true. They did great with those movies.
You put Little Mermaid on Disney Plus for $29.99 for a premium rate for 3 months. That's 6 months you are creating revenue to earn off that movie. Then people are no longer waiting 3 months, they're waiting 6 months. Or I bite that bullet, I pay $30 to say, hey, I can now watch with my family of 5 at home.
It's cheaper than the movies, yeah.
It's still cheaper. Yeah. And it gives them a chance for revenue. Not only that, during those 3 months, you do the same thing for Amazon and those that you can pay to watch, creating more revenue. My thing with Disney on Disney Plus right now is it goes back to the Imagineering story. They are doing stuff assuming that we are going to just buy it because of the name. And yes, people that will still buy it regardless because it is Disney, but obviously not enough of us are buying it just because it's Disney and it's showing on their cash flow. So enough people are buying it to keep the Disney name up, but it's not enough to live lavishly. To an extent. Obviously, we know and understand that some of these guys get paid stupid amounts of money, but they're not being able to do things like they used to. So for me, and yes, it could be a long movie, but if that's the case, there's a difference between TV shows and movies. Mm-hmm. If you're going to make a TV show, it's a TV show. You want a series. You don't want, we're going to make this seem, because everyone reads between the lines. This was supposed to be a movie. We stretched it out a little bit longer. We got 2 months of subscription. Right. If they did 10 episodes at about 45 minutes to an hour each. That's now 3 months, which adds a whole nother month of revenue and more content.
There's a shit ton more cost for the producer to make that for that much longer. I mean, if you think about,
I mean, yes and no. I mean, Netflix has been pumping out shows 10 episodes deep all the time.
Well, obviously Disney's not Netflix yet. Let's be real.
They're not. But I think I think Disney is showing like, hey, they need to realize we can't really afford to put big actors on Disney Plus shows, and we don't need to.
Yeah.
I mean, Netflix is going and getting B-level, C-level actors, giving them a start there, paying them probably a fraction of the cost, and hey, that's how he makes it affordable. But I think Disney Plus adding more tiers to their product is a solid move. They have to eventually start over and fix it.
Yeah.
They can't keep getting mad at it, but they do at the start. And this is a solid step forward. And honestly, I think the password cracking like Netflix is doing is a smart move.
I do agree with you. I thought about, like, I don't care. People have my password, blah, blah, blah. But if you think about it from a business aspect, if I work at a Chevy dealership and I'm letting the people drive my Chevy car, but then if I let someone else, drive my car and then they can drive my car, and instead of buying their own car, why would they? The password thing is actually pretty smart. And I didn't realize that until like the call. I'm like, damn, it's actually big business, just the password share.
I just hope that they take their time and pay attention to it. Because like, obviously I use my Disney Plus here at work and I use it at home.
Yeah.
It's still just me watching it, but I hope that it's not like, nope. I mean, I'm assuming that it's going to be like how Netflix originally was. You get 4 screens and 4 screens only,
right? Because
that way it helps. If they do that, I'm fine with that. But
I do agree with that, Tyler. But he says Disney quality is way better. It is better, I think. But at what cost? I mean, you're spending extra money to have that better quality, but you're not getting the returns from it that you should be. So it is a better quality with Star Wars content and Marvel content, which is visually great, but at what cost to the business itself, not the consumer. The consumer don't care. Consumer's going to pay their $8.99 whatever it is and watch it. And I think that's the problem that Disney has made. They're making these high quality, and we talk about high quality TV shows, but then you're watching like, a movie on Netflix starring, I'm trying to think of something I watched. So, the girl, I can't think of, Rebel Wilson. It's like, you can tell it's a little bit more low budget, but I still watched it. It was enjoyable. And it's probably half the cost of a Disney Plus series.
Yep. So I mean, look.
That's why they're dead.
On Netflix, The Outer Banks, that was a solid little TV show.
Ozarks.
Ozark, yeah. I mean,
Ozarks is just it's dark and it's like grainy, and you're like, okay, and you're totally into it.
And also, too, even with Ozark and like say Extraction, you get like one big name in there. You got Chris Hemsworth in Extraction.
Yeah.
You got Jason Bateman. Not that the other actors aren't big names, but you got your one guy. You take Secret Invasions. You have Martin Freeman. You have Samuel L. Jackson. You have I'm blanking his name. The one that Don Cheadle, Maria, Kobe Smulders.
Big actors, yeah.
They eat up a lot of your profit margin.
Absolutely.
And so when you have one big leading name on a movie, Ryan Reynolds does it. Ryan Reynolds and Adam Sandler on Netflix. They bring their team together. They put out a solid, good movie. We're out.
Oh, Adam Sandler on Netflix, fucking brilliant. I mean, he has that same crew of guys who probably don't get paid that much, but they're his guys, and he takes care of them.
And it's probably just enough to enjoy a nice lifestyle.
Absolutely. But totally makes sense. Like you said, with Star Wars, Mandalorian, you have freaking Pedro Pascal, and then you have all the other big actors. Mark Hamill was even on it. That's just crazy, and then here, I agree. Having tiers is great to move to reach the needs of more people and increase revenue. And that's what this is all about. And that's what the call was about, was revenue and how we're going to make more revenue. The parks are saving Disney right now. They are carrying Disney. And I know they are carrying Disney to the point. And I know there's a lot of talk. We discussed this on the Walt's Apartment Live on Wednesday about the betting coming up with the ESPN. That wasn't even part of the call, but it's brilliant on their part to get into gambling. I won't go away from that. So
we're going to touch on that, but you mentioned parks, and we have a segment on here for parks, which is going to bring up the slides because, yes, Iger shared that the parks and the cruises are doing really well. They're going to double down on.
He actually said that the international parks and Disneyland in California were carrying the parks, which makes sense. Disneyland was closed for over a year, so it makes sense that they're going to have better numbers than anywhere else right now. People want to be there, and it's more expensive there. So
let me ask
have
you,
that revenue.
So when something's working, you obviously want to invest in it, right?
We had this talk last night after we did the viewing thing. I don't know for sure if something's working and people are still going to go to it. Why would you put money into it?
Okay.
I mean, that's what we had that discussion last night was with Sam and Jen on the Discord. I mean, if we talked about what was it? What's that thing at Disney World? The carousel of whatever.
The carousel progress.
Yeah, it's crap from what I hear, but people still go. People aren't complaining about it. If you're just not going anymore at all, then maybe they do something. But people are still going to go because it's a place to cool off, and they don't care.
Okay,
why put money into it? Because money's money.
So, but if that's your cash cow, you obviously want to keep that running smoothly, right?
This is like cussing for Amanda. Circus is crap, she says. Ooh. COP is crap.
So,
I've never seen
right
it.
Now.
Go ahead.
If Disney, the parks are, because he also shared in the call. So there's a few things that I mentioned, and I'll get into them. So he mentions that the parks coming off a great 50th anniversary. I have heard nobody say it was a great 50th anniversary. That's interesting. I've also heard some people say that the 100th has not been a great anniversary. I like the 100th. I'm not bananas about it, but it's been solid. So. Yes, the parks, and I did not say the numbers, and I did not say any numbers because the fact that I am not a numbers guy, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I know numbers. But for the attendance was up 23% on the park. Okay. Now, you could take that attendance is a little higher because the fact that the parks are more higher capacity now. He was quoting it to 2019's attendance, so it's a quarter up than 2019. Now, 2019 was a regular Disney year, no reservations, so therefore,
honestly, you can't compare to the COVID years. That wouldn't be fair. That wouldn't be fair. So,
but 23%. If I have only 23% of my savings, I'm going to do a little bit more to increase that to 50%. So I have a slide here. Going to the slides now.
Slides. There we go.
That shares. I got to remember which one is which, though. So bear with me, guys, real quick. I might show it real quick. Nope, that's not it.
Tyler says you want to cultivate the cash cow and not ignore it.
Yeah. So.
But to what point, Tyler? I mean, if it's making money, people are still buying it. Why would you change it? But business is business.
Okay. So right now. So this time next year, attendance is probably going to be lower if you don't change anything. If you don't add or change anything, it's going to get stale. It's going to get boring, which is what Walt didn't want. It's got to be always going. It's got to be always changing, right?
I disagree, but okay.
You disagree with Walt?
No, I disagree with your statement saying that people aren't going to go.
I mean, I think people are always going to go to Disneyland and Walt Disney World. But you're not going to have growing numbers, which is what the company needs right now.
Oogie Boogie sold out in like 4 hours, dude. People are still going to go. People are still going to go.
But this time next year,
it's going to be the same Oogie Boogie it was last year. I guarantee you. And it's sold out in 4 hours.
So 1 month out of 12 is a good revenue stream.
1 month? No, what do you mean 1 month? They said that Disneyland was part of the part that carried everything. No, it's not 1 month. People are going to continue to go. It's not going to change. Everyone's talking this crap about the stupid Universal whatever coming in a couple of years. You think Disney gives a damn? Shawn Nyberg posts on his thing all the time. $8.9 billion in Q3 for Disney parks, $2 billion for Universal. Why does anyone even give a shit about Universal parks?
It's
because
not
they're building something in 3 more years.
So repeat your number again that you just said for Disney.
I think I want to say it's like 8.9 billion or something like that. I'm not 100%. I know it's like it was like $9 billion more than Universal.
But if that is your only artery that's working and it's carrying the company,
For now, yes.
Eventually, that's going to take a strain.
Yeah.
Your movies, movies this year. And so let's
you're
get
gonna.
into this.
I honestly think you're gonna see a change with the ESPN thing. The ESPN thing is gonna bring more money that wasn't planned on into the company.
So with that, here's their investments for the parks for the next up until 2020. I think it's 4. And there's nothing. Let's look at how nothing first Walt Disney World at Disneyland, besides a few things that aren't even. So for Disneyland, we have San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
We have the villas at the Disneyland Hotel, Adventureland Treehouse, the Pixar Place Hotel.
Yep.
And that's it.
Okay.
So 2 of them are hotels. One of them is a re-theme. Oh, and we have Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Yeah.
So the only real thing that's an attraction is the Bayou Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
None of these other ones are going to cause people to get up, enjoy, and run to the parks.
I know. They're going to go anyway. It doesn't matter. You don't need any of that stuff. They're still going to go. It's a proven fact. You're still going to go.
But it's also
no matter what.
Fact, it's also a proven fact that their numbers for revenue has been going down year over year.
They still made a profit. They still beat their expectation.
You can't use that. They beat their expectation.
Why can't you use that? You have an expectation. You beat it. That's a success.
Because they got rid of employees, the hotel, all that. So if you're getting rid of stuff to make
yeah, you did that, but they're still saying that it's still the parks division still exceeded expectations.
Because they had to
get rid of. That's nothing to do with who you got rid of.
It does.
How? Because people still came and spent their damn money. How much of it actually came out of the parks? Were the people they laid off? Of the 7,000 people, how many people was it? Do we know?
I don't know, and I don't think they're ever going to release that number.
Exactly.
I don't think they're
7,000 people of a company with 300,000 employees. It sucks. I'm sorry, those people lost their jobs, but it's business.
But
it wasn't all the parks.
I will agree with you on that. But if you have to get rid of stuff just to make a 25%, 23%. Profit, like, come on. So you're gonna have to get rid of stuff to make even. That's like selling your car for gas money. Like, it doesn't make sense. You got to make investments to make money. Getting rid of to make money doesn't make any sense.
Well, you have to fix the problem first, and that's what they're doing right now. Is they're fixing the problem by getting rid of the stuff. And they said that they will have a what was the word, modest dividend at the end of the year.
Yeah,
because they're going to make enough money to have some kind of dividend, which they were $5 billion in the black or in the red. Now they've switched that around. Unfortunately, the cuts and the cost, the things that they do are unfortunate, but they did it.
I would be surprised there actually is a dividend dispersed in the fourth quarter.
And then George, I'm assuming, so I agree with Lewis. The parks can't carry it forever. Moana joke will be another flop at Epcot. I disagree, George. The parks have been carrying everything for a long ass time, and they're going to continue to do it. So,
but now they're the only things carrying it. Your theatrical releases aren't doing it.
You're going to see a difference. You're going to see a difference in the sports marketing. I'm telling you, give it a couple of years.
And speaking of theatricals, here's their theatricals. This is what the lineup is up until June of 2024.
Okay, so for those that are listening, we have couple 20th centuries says The Haunting of Venice, The Creator, Marvel, The Marvels, which I think will do well. Well, actually, I thought Haunted Mansion would do well, but that didn't. But Next Goal Wins, Wish for Disney, The Bike Riders, 20th Century, and then Searchlight. You have The Magazine Dreams, Poor Things, All of Us Strangers. March 2024, Pixar Elio. Snow White is in March for Disney. Inside Out 2 for Pixar in June of 2024.
Let me ask you, does anything on there, maybe the Marvels, say anything that's going to reach $1 billion?
No.
Do you see anything on there that will probably make $800 million?
Maybe the Marvels and probably the Marvels.
How many of those do you think will hit $500 million?
About half of them.
About half.
Elemental started off shitty, and I think it's already hit five. It has finally hit 500. Elemental is one of Pixar's best films ever now. And when it started off, it had like the worst weekend ever, according to that WD Pro guy. It was the worst, the worst debut ever of a Pixar film. Still, it's still circle back, you know.
I mean, yeah. But looking at these, I think the Marvels has a chance to make between 800 million and $1 billion.
Yeah.
I think Wish has a chance to make above 500 million because of the concept behind it. Inside Out 2, I think, has potential.
I think Inside Out. I got to see Inside Out 1 first still. But,
Inside Out being a
really
sequel of a pretty popular movie, I think that has some legs. But everything else on this list doesn't.
Amanda said Inside Out made 858 million worldwide.
See, so Inside Out,
two might make 500, 600 million.
Yeah, but
because we have streaming now.
We and that's another problem Disney has to fix. But those movie titles, the titles alone don't even sound interesting. And not only that, let me bring that back up.
You can't blame. I disagree with that. You can't blame something on title because Elemental I thought looked stupid as hell till I actually watched it, and it was so good.
I'll give you that. I'll agree with that.
Even the previews, I'm like, what the hell is this? This looks.
But here's the second interesting
great movie.
part. The second interesting part that I see on here, there's only 2 Disney movies,
and
only two Pixar. Which, again, we've shared a lot that Pixar and Disney right now is in an uphill battle against themselves. I mean, that Haunted Mansion isn't doing so great, but there's a lot of variables on why it's probably not doing great. Elemental is grabbing some traction finally, but it might be slowing down as other movies are coming out. What else has dropped?
What's weird on that list there is that I don't know where you got that list, but there's really no Marvel listed on there. Deadpool's supposed to be out next year. Deadpool will do $1 billion easily.
Well, Deadpool got pulled off the list right now.
Oh, it did?
It's release date got pushed. That's why it's not on here.
Well, how many of these are these movies in post, or how many of these movies are still in production? Are still ways to say
considering they're coming out, the last one's in June. I would assume that everything 2023 is probably post.
I would think so, yeah. On those,
and everything next year is probably close to the end.
Yeah. I think those last 5, Ilio, Snow White, Kingdom of Planets, and Inside Out 2 will be pushed because of the strike. Let's just be real.
I think Snow White gets pulled and goes straight just to Disney Plus and like Peter and Wendy.
Oh.
Which does them no good because that's probably eating up a traditional size budget.
Is the Snow White leaks real? I have no idea. EIAI was asking that. I'm not sure if those are real or not.
If it's the ones with them in the grass, I think they are because the Hollywood Reporter shared a comment from Disney that those came out prematurely and are mapping photos to place where the actors will be at, like in post. But they are way out of context from the movie.
I think that's like I saw this Lilo and Stitch movie they're making too. Like, all that's like they have like sticks and stuff with Stitch's head on it because you can't obviously do that because that's gonna be built in later. But yeah, I think those leaks and stuff like that. I mean, like the leaks from the Deadpool and the Deadpool movie look great. You know what I mean? They're in costume, they're fighting. You're wondering what the hell's happening. I would love to stay on, but I have to call it a night. Some things popped up. We'll look forward to listening when you guys release it. Have a good night. Good night, Tyler. Have a good night, buddy.
Thanks for hanging out, Tyler.
Hope all is well.
But I mean, I agree with you. People are going to still go to the parks, but I think right now, I mean, we haven't had something that besides Oogie Boogie, and Oogie Boogie has a lot in its pot. It has Halloween. It's got candy. It's got family oriented. It's got a lot in its melting pot to be a success.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now, that's the only thing that's coming to the parks that you hear besides merch. But even merch isn't really being bought because fans want it. It's just being bought and to resell it if you get lucky. I mean, Halloween is going to sell itself, whether it's Disney, Universal. I mean, McDonald's sells Halloween buckets during Halloween and people go bananas over it.
Sure.
Halloween sells itself. But remember the time when Disney sold itself. Like, you could put out anything, and the name Disney sold itself out. You put a movie in, it's Disney animation, almost guaranteed $800 million to $1 billion. We're not in that era no more.
Absolutely.
And how do
we won't.
I think we can get back.
Streaming.
But I think
streaming has destroyed that.
Yes. But you could fix it with streaming still. Just like what you mentioned, you keep talking about the ESPN bet.
No, I just said that the ESPN bet they said that if it works the way they want, they can make $2 billion in the next 2 years. $2 billion takes a big chunk out of the Disney Plus issue because let's be honest, all the money still goes to the same pot.
It does. But that's where the interesting, and that I didn't put that on our notes because I'm not too fluent in it. But that's the thing where I think they have to watch themselves, because that's what got Chapek in trouble. Is he was using numbers from other parts of the company to fluff these numbers. And
well, I'm not saying fluff it. I'm just saying that you can still show a Disney Plus loss, but the overall company is going to show positive performance. That's dumb to fake numbers. That's stupid.
Yeah,
that was completely insane on his part.
But if you're saying, oh, we profited this year as a company,
right? That's all. That's all the people that want to make money care about.
Yep.
And if all that profit comes from the parks, thank you.
Yep. But at the same time,
kind of,
you got to equally invest. You got to please the ones that want to get paid, and you got to please the ones that want to pay.
You don't have to equally invest. I would love for things to get better at the parks, but you don't. From a business aspect, you don't have to, because people are still going to go until people stop going because they don't like it. They're not going to do anything. These huge ass dramatic things to fix anything. Let's be honest. I would love for them to change all this stuff. I would love for them to put something in the Interventions building at Disneyland. They're not, until people stop going and ticket sales are half of what they are, nothing's going to change.
But then that's not Disney.
Disney's a business that's trying to make money, and that's what they're doing still.
Then that's not Disney. Let's be honest. And you know that. Come on now.
I understand what you're saying, but if you look at Disney from a business aspect, they're still making money. Who cares how they're making it?
Disney has always been a business, but they put the storytelling and family content first.
Well, unfortunately, the people that did that are no longer in charge.
Yep.
So Disney is what it is now, and that's hard for me to say, being a huge Disney fan with a Walt Disney tattoo on my arm. Because Walt Disney, and everyone said, what would Walt do? No one knows what the hell Walt would do, how Walt would handle all this. You can't speak for how he'd feel about this. Mm-hmm. Would it be in the same position? Who knows?
I mean, yeah, you're right. It could be worse. It could be better. It could not. The parks may not even be here, because I feel like I don't want to say he walked away, but after the animation movie started taking a strong push, he stepped away and started in the parks. Yep. So for all we know, he could be invested in space at this point if he was still here today.
I can tell you one thing. I do believe if Walt Disney lived longer, Epcot would have been what he wanted. And I know we've had that discussion many times.
Yeah.
But
I mean, and
keep an eye on your time, Louis. I'm not trying to rush you, but just remember that we have to do the other.
I got you. We got one more.
But I mean, I'm not trying to be negative, and I just to wrap this up, I'm not saying that I'm okay with the way that the status of the parks, because I'm not as well. I don't like how you see stuff, and you see the people mover track that's in Disneyland's been there for ever, that has literally plants and stuff growing on it, vines. But people are still going. They're not going to not go. When they stop going, then maybe like, oh shit, we got to fix this. They're not going to.
But see, and I don't disagree with that, but
because at the end of the day, it's a business.
But see, but at the end of the day, us as content creators doing this, if we are going to fold back and accept that, they're never going to make that change.
You're absolutely right.
So
okay. Let's be real, and I'm gonna call you out kind of for a second here right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna call you out for a second because you're saying this, and I get all of your points are so valid that this is gone, this is gone, this is gone. How many trips do you have planned in the next month and a half to Disneyland? Counting if you were to go on Wednesday, how many trips would you have planned?
Right now, I'd have 3.
Exactly, and you're still going.
But
you're not happy about it. But you're still going to go, and that's all that matters.
I'm still going to go because guess what? Those tickets have already been paid for.
Sure.
Therefore,
but you're going to go buy food.
We don't need the parks unless we go.
You're going to buy something there. You're going to buy. If you buy one bottle of water, they win. You understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. Okay. Yes, that's a win. But a $3 bottle of water versus a $100 Spirit jersey. If I'm not excited to go and buy that stuff,
I can't.
Okay, let me turn this on you. If you're gonna sell an $80,000 car versus a $20,000 car, right?
Right.
And you're selling it, right? Which one are you trying to sell more?
It depends on. I mean, it's
As a business person, you're
it
going to want
depends
to
on the
sell
profit.
huh?
I'm going to tell you right now that the $80,000 car probably doesn't have as much profit as that $10,000 car. I'm just being real with you because that's the way the business works.
All right, maybe
If that makes sense. If that makes sense.
But I mean, but as you're like
80,000 sounds great, but if I'm only making $2,000 profit, if I'm making $3,000 profit on the $10,000 car, I'm gonna sell a $10,000 car all day long because I'm making $1,000 more. If that makes sense.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but I mean, at the same time, though, I mean,
Damn,
cars,
dog, 3 Disney trips as an adult. Oof.
I mean, we have 3, but they're don't get it twisted. I mean, we got our magic keys. We're on the monthly plan. We and when we go, we enjoy it, but we bring snacks, we bring waters. I mean, outside of parking.
Wait a second. You're on that monthly plan.
Yeah.
If I can ask, how much does that cost you a month?
That one right there for a family of 5 cost me $245.
So every month Disney's saying, "Thank you, Louis," even if you're not coming.
Yep.
Okay. So they're winning still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, you're cutting people to make par.
You are, absolutely. Business is business. Where's George? Where's George to back me up on these on this business? George runs his own business.
On the business aspect, I agree with you.
That's all this is.
But Disney has been a business for all this time and has never been in this rut, and now they are. So and Disney's the common denominator in this. So what isn't working that they are doing now to fuck themselves?
Define rut.
Huh?
Define a rut.
If they're
profitable every month, how are you in a rut?
You're only profitable by one of your pillars when before you were profitable. First off, let's talk. I mean, the stocks alone has split in half.
Sure.
Okay. But not only that, before all their pillars were profitable. Now it's only one pillar that's profitable, and it's the parks and cruise lines, but that's all bundled together in the same pillar. Nothing else is profitable. In your movies, you're lucky to make $500 million, and that's not just because streaming. That's because some of the movies downright either suck or you're taking way too many chances on. And you know what? I'm going to say it as it is. You're taking too much chances on what everybody else's point of view is, and you're no longer selling stories you want to sell. You're selling stories that you think everybody wants to hear.
Yep.
And so
I agree with your overall thought process, and you know that.
I get it. I mean it.
But the business aspect of my business mind is different, and that's where I always say, why fix something if it's not broke? Because it's really not broke. Because they're still profitable to an extent. You know what I mean? Splitting the company in 3 divisions was brilliant, because you actually can see parks is over here. Like, hey, here we are. Movies, we kind of suck. Movies and streaming, you know. Sports.
So real quick, before we get into the last topic, I'm seeing a lot of people talk. So those in the comments, if we are not answering your questions or comments, the reason being is because we are talking about the Q3 meeting.
I have not even seen those pictures, so I'm not going to comment until I actually see them.
And not only that, I mean, so if you are asking questions, it's nothing against you, nothing personal, but we are talking about the topics at hand. So if you have a question, comment, concern about the topics at hand, by all means, please chime in. But we're not answering you on purpose. It just isn't in line with what we are talking about right now. So to close it out with that part, I agree. On a business aspect, it is working. But the real question is, for how long?
And I completely agree with you. And
because, I mean, the 23% profit is only enough to cover small extra costs. You're not at this rate. We're not getting another Marvel Land, not getting another. And right now, Disney Forward, that ain't happening on a 23% budget, especially if you're having to make cuts to make it happen. So for me,
those cuts were a temporary thing. So I mean, just to be real, that was just to get them back in line.
Yeah, as a business aspect, I think it's okay. It's working. But as a Disney aspect, I think it's a ticking time bomb, which so Amanda, just as any company, you have to diversify. Disney is trying different things. You win some and you lose some. but luckily the park's still profitable and keeping them standing while they figure out the rest.
Exactly.
That is very true. But right now, I think what they're figuring out is whatever they're doing, whatever the blueprint is not working.
Absolutely. I agree with you there.
I mean, even the ESPN bet, it may have potential, but we talked about this in our group chat. I'm only going to touch on it for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, yes, it's profitable, but we discussed in our group chat, there's way more things that they could have brought to ESPN, and it's not even them having to pay for it. It's just opening it up for licensing and marketing that could have made them probably 3 times that guaranteed money.
100%. But that's easy money, though.
It is, but I mean, so is bringing, MLB games to Disney Plus.
Sure.
If YouTube can get NFL Sunday Ticket, Disney could have put in on that.
Oh, for sure. You're absolutely right. But I think the bet thing was a good idea. It was a lazy way out, though.
Yeah,
I agree with what you're saying. I agree with everything, and we always get back to at the end of these things. We get back to the fact that we do agree on these things. It's just we look at them through a completely different eye.
Well, I mean,
not
to try to compare ourselves to anybody, but we have the contrasting thoughts like Frank Well and Eisner did.
For sure.
Where they both wanted the same thing, but the approach to it was different.
Yeah.
So, and with the approach to it, and I don't think we're going to discuss this, but I want to open this up to the comments, and we'll bring it back next time we talk. Disney selling to who, how, and why. So before we close out, that was the question that closed out the Q3. I'm glad we got to save it towards the end. I want you guys to think about that. We're going to open up the next show with that because obviously we're the Q3. There's still a lot more information.
Oh yeah, we could. Yeah,
but at this point, we've come to the conclusion that Disney is not making the worst decisions. They're not making the greatest decisions. There's decisions that should be changed. There's decisions that should go forward. But right now, one decision that seems that no matter how hard we try, it's still coming back. And that's Disney selling to who, how are they doing it, why. And I'm going to say, if we were to see Disney sell, we would hear about it at the time of the signing and not a day before. And the reason being is because Disney won't announce that because their stocks will drop immediately.
You asked me immediately after the call. You said, "Hey, what do you think?" I said, "It looks like Apple's going to buy Disney." I can't think of any other company that could, honestly.
I think Apple can buy Disney a couple times and not blink.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So who else?
And
could?
Honestly, if they were to, right now, I don't think anyone needs to buy Disney because a lot of Disney.
I thought about that after I said it to you. Then I'm like, I'm going to actually backtrack and say they'll be fine. I don't think they're going to fix it, but
I don't think Disney's going to sell to anybody, and no one's going to buy Disney. If anything, competitors of Disney are going to hire Disney employees, and create something new because it's the battle of the fittest right now. They all want to be the pioneers of something, and Disney was trying to do that with Disney Plus, trying to throw this and make it happen. And I don't see Disney Plus ever being profitable, but I do see it becoming just another cash flow and breaking even. So, but
there will be a point to where I agree. There'll be a point to where Disney Plus is profitable. When will that be? Who knows? When they change what they're putting up on there, when they don't put so much money into what they're putting up on there, you know what I mean? So,
yep. So with that, guys, like always, do your homework, read up, create your own opinions. If you don't like what we're saying, you like what we're saying, be true to your opinion. These are all just opinions. I'm down to hear anybody out. You could follow us on Instagram. You could find us on Discord. Join our Patreon. And really, I mean,
I will say this, why I know you're closing your thing, but Louis put so much into this show and thought into this show. Literally half of our comments in our group chat are like, that's going to be an undisputed topic. That's going to be, and I told you guys on the live the other night, Louis said, don't talk about the Q3 call because I want to talk about it on this show. And it was hard. We touched on it for like a second, but we didn't do it because, I mean, I appreciate this show is great. And with what you put into it and the thought, I mean, I've never did a page and a half of typed up notes for any one of our shows. I'm doing this for 3 years, but the topics are great. And and to bring it back really quick, I mean, we come back to the fact that we usually at the end always wind up agreeing. You know what I mean?
And that's what it's about. For those of you guys that are just joining us too, I mean, today was a very different approach on the show. I have found myself in the last year being very passionate about the quarterly meetings, because the fact that I don't feel, if you're going to talk down on Disney or talk up on Disney, if you're doing it just because you want to, that's not cool. But if you're willing to put in the footwork, read and watch and learn and say, hey, I like that, hey, I don't like that, then I respect you even more. I respect everybody that watches all of our shows and just wants to see the good for the greater good. But I got more passionate about this to try to really be as transparent as I can with my opinions on Disney. And that's what this show is about. Normally it's a little bit more chaotic. Normally the blood pressure is a little higher, but right now it was a different approach. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
On Monday at 7:30.
Hell yeah.
We'll be bringing the opinions, the comments, all that stuff. But until next time.